So good afternoon. It's Wednesday, October 1st, and it's noon. And this is the Athens City Planning Commission meeting of October 1st. And so I'll call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is establishing a quorum. We have 4 members present. The mayor is not going to be able to make it, and so there'll be 4 of us, which is a quorum, and so we will proceed with the meeting. The first order of business, or the next order of business, I guess, is anyone who would plan in the audience to speak, I'd ask them to raise their right hand. And hopefully you'll be comfortable agreeing with what I have to say. All those who will be speaking or are going to speak before this commission, I ask that you confirm that what you will say is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge. Thank you. Okay, we have the meeting of September 11th, the minutes for September 11th that have been provided to each of the commissioners. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at them. Are there any questions or concerns? And if not, I would ask or seek a motion to approve them.
I move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second. Okay. So with that, I will once again ask, is there anything that anybody wants to say before we proceed for voting? Hearing nothing. At this point, all in favor of approving the minutes of September 11th September 17th as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. So it passes 4-0. So we have 2 cases on the agenda for today. The first one, case 25-06, it's the Columbus Road, Lancaster Street, Columbia Avenue Neighborhood Hub rezoning. And with that, I'll ask Ms. Jennings if she has anything she would like to say about this as we proceed with this case.
Sure. So in your packets today, we included 2 maps for reference. The first one was our original proposed rezoning map back from our meeting in July. And then at that meeting, members from the neighborhoods requested that staff meet with them again to review the proposed zone change map. And we met with them last week, had a really good conversation. They had representatives from the majority of the neighborhoods in that area. And I think we had a really robust discussion with them about how we can modify the map to both meet the city's needs, but also address some of the neighborhood's concerns. So on the next page is the updated proposed rezoning map dated October 1st, 2025. And this is how we have modified the rezoning map based off of that conversation with the neighborhood representatives last week. The biggest changes, as you'll see, is we have kept the fire station to the B2 zoning, but the majority of that center hub between Columbus and Lancaster Street in Columbia is now B1 instead of B2. This also includes the Dairy Queen being maintained as a B1 zone. At this time, we won't be pursuing rezoning any further north up Columbus Road. I just wanted to point that out as well. And then the other major change we made was along Columbia Avenue, just east of its intersection with Lancaster Street. We have changed that from an R3 to an R2. Changing it to an R2 still addresses a lot of the non-conforming uses there, while being more contextually sensitive to the neighborhood. We felt that the conversation last week with the neighbors, discussing the B1, especially along Lancaster Street, we were able to convey to them kind of the issues of not addressing some of those non-conforming uses along Lancaster Street, and also addressed how the bulk controls, how we modified them last year, so that any B1 new development would be more in scale with the existing R1 neighborhoods, and that they won't be large imposing businesses. We also reviewed a lot of the allowable uses in the B1 zone, and it seemed like the group was pretty amenable to that portion of Lancaster Street being B1. I think there were still some members that had concerns about that, and they would prefer to keep that kind of southeastern portion of Lancaster Street and Columbia all to R1. But with this map, we are moving forward with it being proposed as a B1 and an R2 there. If any Planning Commission members have questions about the proposed map, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Are there any questions?
I have one. Can you help us remember, for R2, other than the fact that a building can be made into a duplex in an R2, what other significant differences are there between R1 and R2, just for our understanding? Specifically looking at that far east portion there, southeast of Columbia up to the Congress intersection.
Use-wise, I think you nailed it on the head. The residential uses just allow for duplexes, but then when it comes to bulk controls, the R2 zone does allow for slightly smaller lots and I think the same yard setbacks, but just slightly smaller lots.
And these lots are already smaller
Yes.
than what our zoning our typical zoning is for this, so it's not different. I mean, all the R1 lots in this area are smaller than what a new R1 lot would be required.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question about the current use of what I think I've heard some people refer to as the old Job and Family Services building, and what happens or what the zoning is now for it and its use, and what would happen potentially with the rezoning.
So I believe that building is currently zoned R1. Believe as in, I know it is, I'm sorry. It's currently zoned R1. It is kind of an existing non-conforming commercial building along that street. Currently, the user being the Jobs and Family Services, they are an exempt governmental body, so they don't have to comply with local zoning. I do think that...
I don't know that that's true.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't know that that's true. It's a private owner.
The building may be owned by a private owner, yes.
Leasing to a governmental organization.
Yeah.
Previously
right.
it was, though.
So-
You're correct.
Yeah.
So to who does that, so they have a variance? Go ahead. I'm still not sure I understand.
No, I'm sorry. So yes, I believe that it recently sold to Capstone, which is a private owner. Are they, and this is where I'm fuzzy on the matter, is who the current tenant is there, if that's still Job and Family Services or someone else.
Yeah, I think it's a public defender. I
Okay,
believe.
public defender's
so
office,
it's,
okay.
Legal services, basically.
Yeah, okay. So that's currently zoned R1, and we would be proposing to rezone that to a B1. Which there is existing B1 along that portion of Lancaster Street, but it encompasses the dentist office that is there, not the large commercial structure.
Any other questions?
Do you remember, like from a historical perspective, and nobody probably remembers, but know historically, because our zoning went in place in '68. I'm assuming that building was older than that, so it was non-conforming probably from the very beginning. Does anybody know?
I do not.
Just why that building was zoned R1 to begin with. And my guess is we zoned over top of a non-conforming building back in 1968 when we implemented zoning, but I don't know that for a fact.
Mr. Riggs, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
I'm not sure exactly when, but Ms. Kronansky asked to have an email. She couldn't attend. Asked to have an email read into the record. So I think I'll do that now before I open it up to other conversations. So she wrote, "Dear Planning Commission members, Director of Code Enforcement and City Planner, in reviewing the most recent rezoning recommendations by the city planner for the North Lancaster Street area, it was encouraging to find that some of the neighborhood committees' suggestions were considered. Likewise, the revised map proposed proposal we presented to the city planner took into consideration aspects of the original rezoning proposal. I feel this means we are communicating well, but important concerns still exist, including one, why extend a B1 zone along Lancaster Street? Traditionally and citywide, B1 business zones occupy neighborhood street corners as the city attempted to identify proposed small businesses for such a large block of properties. Assuming that city officials will be working with organizations that promote economic activity, it would be helpful to share any information about potential or existing prospects. Clearly, more discussion is necessary. Like all of you, am looking to promote a more walkable neighborhood experience. Perhaps it would be helpful to see how the extension of sidewalks along Columbus Road provides a reasonable avenue for neighborhood services in a more commercial-oriented area before eliminating residential zones. Number two, I feel comfortable with the R2 designated area west of Columbus Road as indicated on the most recent map proposed by the city planner. But I am uncomfortable with both the R2 designation along Columbia Avenue and the B1 along North Lancaster. May I suggest the section of North Lancaster that curves left parallel with Columbus Road is more appropriate R2 zone while maintaining the adjacent designed B1 zone. While it is clear the city is interested in expanding R2 zones, and whereas my recommendations provide our neighborhood point of view, my solution would be to maintain the R1 zone along North Lancaster and Columbia, designating adjacent areas along North Lancaster parallel to Columbus Road and the area to the west of Columbus Road as R2 zones. As I will be unable to attend the meeting, I would appreciate the above be read at the meeting so that it can be included in the public record, respectively. Joe. Okay. Anybody want to react to that, or I'll open it up to other comments at this point?
I'll just add that Joan was represented in that meeting. She attended the neighborhood meeting last week. And then I'll list the other members who attended as well. Michelle Pappy, who's from the North Congress area. Linda, and I didn't catch her last name, I apologize, Michelle, but she's also from the North Congress area. Then Joan, who is lives on Mound Street, and then we had Michael Rinaldi Eichenberg, who's from Ring Street, and then we also had Ellen Crutel, who is from Sunset. So just wanted to share their names and also like kind of the areas of the neighborhoods that they represented.
So with that, then, I would open it up to anybody who wants to speak regarding the proposed zoning map that is presented here to the commission. Is there anybody who would like to speak?
So you can pull it up.
Oh,
Are you guys able to pull it? You can't do it?
It's in the full packet.
I wonder if we could. It's in the full packet that went out. I don't know. It was in the alert that went out, so if that might be helpful. Just from a point of reference.
sure, absolutely. That'd be a good
Because somebody will
Point out specific
things
Yeah.
that are issues. Yes.
And while we're waiting for them to do that, Mr. Chair, one note is Ms. Grancy did send along a revised map, her version of it, and it basically takes everything southeast of Lancaster / Columbia and turns it to R1 to include the area that's already B1. So it would be converting an existing B1, that, and then specifically is that former orthodontist. So moving that to an R1 too. Likewise, she proposed the R2 along Lancaster, and that's that would create a couple non-conforming, specifically the Children's Museum, which I think one of our goals was to try to get that conforming. It could,
Mr. Katowski, while you're waiting.
Yes.
Could you share the other communication that we sent as a group, just so that's in the record?
Okay, I don't have that.
Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's not to know.
It's not finding it.
Michelle, do you have it with you? I probably have it on my phone too, but I'm not connected to the internet right now.
Sure. You want me to read it?
You may, sure.
Hi, I'm Michelle Abbey.
Address, please,
240 North Congress.
Thank you.
Dear Planning Commission members, we had a productive meeting this past Wednesday with the city planner, code director, and a code officer. There was a good discussion and points of view considered. The planner sent us her current version of the map late Friday afternoon and said she is bringing it forward for a vote at the Wednesday's meeting, this Wednesday, right now. Several of us met Sunday evening, and frankly, we feel rushed to come to a consensus and are requesting one more meeting with city staff and then the proposed map vote for the October 15th meeting, I believe, is your next meeting after this?
14 day, yes, it would be the
Okay.
15th, correct.
The purpose of the upcoming map meeting is to develop a consensus between our group and the city staff. There continues to be a few points for which we request additional consideration. And I also was hoping the map would come up for the public as well.
And it's up now.
Good.
this is the 16th one.
Oh, is that the
That's the
16th?
first version. We need the second version. There we go. That's it. Right
Okay.
there. Perfect.
This is the one from Friday, correct, Megan? Okay. So,
Okay, so you've read your memo, your note.
communication to you all.
Communication, yes. So would you like to make some additional comments? I mean, so far what I hear is you would like us to postpone any vote today.
Today,
Is what
we
I'm
would,
hearing.
and
Okay, is there
we-
anything else you'd like to add to that?
For the most part, what we talk about is the island, meaning Columbus Road to the right, around the bend onto Lancaster, and then to the light at Columbus Road there. I think that most people have no problem with that whatsoever. And so we're all really in agreement with that. We'd like to give businesses a go to develop, to current owners to develop whatever in that area. So I'm speaking generally, I'm not speaking, I'm just, there's still a lot of concern with the R1 residents, I'm going to say to the east of, on that east side, which is now zoned as B1 and R2, and that section of Columbia across from the cemetery or the green area there. So I think that's still keeping some people up at night about that current proposal, and we'd like to have more conversation about that. We realize at great lengths that the dental office, or what was a dental office, whether it is, I think it's a law office now, but I don't know, and the old JFS building owned by Capstone now. There's still a lot of concerns about what could develop there, the density that could be developed there, because it is a very large building, and we're also sensitive that large buildings also shouldn't be kept empty. So if you look at it from the back side, you realize how many levels that building has. From the front, it just looks like a one-story building. And how many parcels it takes up? 4?
4 or
believe
5,
so.
yeah.
4 city parcels. So there's still a lot of concern about what that would do on the backside to the neighborhood. We've really come to a lot of good consensus about the R2 on the west side of Columbus Road there. There is a gentleman who's elderly we would like to try to contact there on the right of Eric. But it seems that everybody's pretty good with the R2 up there around the old Dairy Queen and with those few homes that exist up there. So we're close. I think we're close. We're really close, but we'd like to sit down one more time and discuss it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other, please? Name and address.
Yes, Eric Lee, 7 3rd Street in Athens. I really appreciate all the work that the city's put into this and all the work that the community has put into this to make something workable. My only suggestion is I have kind of the hourglass R2 on the map up there, and I have 3 parcels of land. I would prefer it if all my parcels were zoned the same. That's my only suggested change. So.
Could you point out which
Yeah.
parcel, or which ones you,
So I've got this, and my house sits here, and this is a
Okay.
landlocked parcel, so it should probably be the same as whatever it connects to.
okay.
Single family home there now, I think.
Okay.
There's, I mean, also further up on Eric, there's a single family home. That's that older couple that yeah, there's a single family home there. There's one there. And then I think there's one, is there a single family home on the parcel that you currently own?
Yes,
that's currently zoned?
my home sits, it's down a steep driveway, it sits roughly here.
Okay.
And then this stuff, I mean, it's not really buildable, because there's a stream that runs through it, but it would just be nice to have it all be the same zone.
And you own the next portion to the east then as well?
I own this little hourglassy thing, and.
I see,
it might be
okay.
a
And it would be changed to R2 in this particular thing, but the adjacent parcel would not. It would stay
Yeah.
R1, and you're asking for,
Just, if that can all be the same.
if the 2 parcels that are owned by the same person by you could be
Yep.
the same. Okay.
Yep.
So you're wanting to change to R1, those
R2.
other 2 parcels, or are you wanting the big ones
I prefer
changed to
it to be R2, but I don't care
R2?
strongly. It's just confusing when I have one little weird-shaped parcel.
One parcel is one and one is the other. Yeah. So you don't care whether it's R1 or R2.
I would slightly prefer R2 just because, I mean, I have no plans to do anything with it. Like I said, it's going to be difficult to do anything with it at all, but I don't know. I like having more freedom for what I can do with my property if I ever choose to do something down the road.
Sure.
But, so that'd be my suggestion. But, yeah, I really appreciate all the hard work that's gone into it. And it's,
Thank you.
I think we're really close to getting it done. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none. So commission, is there?
Yeah, I guess a couple thoughts. I had another question for the team over here. So in a B1 zone, help me with multifamily. Can multifamily go into a B1 zone? I know you can have first floor residential. Can it be multifamily if, say, there's a building that couples, and I'm specifically talking about the Capstone building? Because I think that's the risk, right? Or that's the concern. Could that be converted into an apartment building?
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It could, yes.
With the B1?
The restriction would be
But R2
the
could.
on-site parking that would be required. So you could technically you have that use, but practically you'd have to have a lot of parking
Yeah.
to allow for that. So that would probably restrict it more than the use.
I see.
Can we, and do you know which ones are the capstone in here? Is it the 2?
It's the large building
The
that
2
sits
big
over
ones?
top of.
These?
It's not those. It's
Okay.
Down there.
Oh, it's down on that end, okay. So between the 2 double lines that are on the map,
pretty much. I think so.
is that safe to say, do you? Yeah.
So,
okay.
and can you also explain, I know there's some impacts to when you have a non-conforming use and you do improvements and restrictions on improving a structure that's non-conforming. Like when someone files a zoning permit, can you explain that so that we understand?
Yeah, I believe that the code currently doesn't allow more than 50% of the improvement of the value of the structure itself. This isn't the value of the land and the structure, it's the value of the structure itself. Or you can't improve it more than 50% of its current value.
So right now it's zoned R1, and nobody could put more than 50% of the value of the structure into it and continue to be non-conforming.
Correct.
Whether it's owned by whoever it's owned by. Okay. I mean, that's a consideration for why if something stayed non-conforming, you limit their ability to fix it, basically.
Yes.
I'm just going to think out loud for a few minutes, because what we have is information from the neighborhoods. One with, I think I understand what Joan was saying in her letter. We have a variety of residents from near North Side, all of those streets around in there, making another presentation. We have the proposal, which is I think already a compromise from what we were proposing that when we first looked at it back in July, and I really appreciate that conversation. So what I'm balancing in my mind is knowing that you got a case, it's probably you're going to ask for a motion to approve, and we got one person that's going to abstain, and so I'm also looking at neighborhood overlay zones, and I'm looking at our need to develop communities and not to do spot zoning if we can, but also knowing we got a housing shortage, and so. And I see Anna's proposal that makes all of the southeast side of Columbia, R1, and I don't. So I'm wondering, would it be that it could go to it rather? And we're saying B1 on that southeast side. What about making it R2? What? So I'm just proposing that now, knowing that once we get to the vote and the discussion, we're going to be too far along to even consider something like that. So I'd like to step back and say, with that, what are your thoughts on that, Megan?
I see how that would be a compromise to a lot of the concerns. I know that there are a couple residential structures along that portion of Lancaster Street that have 3 units, not just 2. So they would still technically be non-conforming. And of course, there are those existing business zones there as well. But I see your point on rezoning that to an R2.
So we would create action. So we wouldn't solve the problem if we did it all R2. We wouldn't solve the problem of the current capstone property being it would still be non-conforming, and then we would create non-conforming with a couple of single-family homes that are.
Well, they would still technically be non-conforming because they're zoned R1 currently.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're already
gotcha.
non-conforming.
We're not creating new non-conforming.
So
we're
the
just
only thing
fixing
we don't resolve is capstone.
Right.
But on the other hand, I guess I would argue, if we could consider that all of that R2, then yeah, I guess.
So with the proposal from the neighborhood, if it just stays all R1, and that building falls down, and we can't, because it's on the side of a hill and it's precarious and it's old, presumably more than 50 years old, they couldn't spend money to fix it, right? They'd have to tear down and build single-family homes.
That's correct.
But with R2, it would offer more options.
Duplexes.
No.
Duplexes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'll say the proposed B1 addresses all nonconformities. The R2 would only address a few, and R1 wouldn't address any. It would, in fact, create more nonconformities since there's some existing B1 there.
So it doesn't seem like, in some sense, that all R1 is practical. It's not. R2 might not be ideal, but in terms of the absolute zoning conformity, nonconformity, but gets us closer to perhaps what some of the neighborhood discussion are. I don't know. So current proposed is there's all R2, no R3.
Correct. And that's a change from
Correct, from what we
what we had done
had.
back in 16 or in July.
Right.
Any other?
I do know, the mayor's not here, obviously, but he does want this to move because, the city council has to pick it up, and city council is going to change significantly after January 1st. So, depending on how quickly they could get it up in front of them and considered, because, rezoning for them, they also have to do a public hearing and such. So, I think he would be opposed, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he would be opposed to waiting. I think he would be open to us modifying this based on input from the, and then passing it. But he would like us to move it along. That was something that he told me.
So procedurally, I'd never be a good poker player. Procedurally, I would like to recommend that we consider the R2 in that lower portion of what is currently B1 on the southeast side of Lancaster Street. So, do you need to, what I need to find out is, do you need to make a motion to move forward what's proposed by the code office and then I propose to amend it? Or can I just make a proposal right now to move forward on the case with the revision?
There's nothing on the table. I mean, we've been having this discussion, but I assume that the motion can be whatever we want it to be, which
Okay.
would include modifications to this or presenting it just as it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Riggs.
Sorry, I wanted to make a correction. I misspoke earlier about the multifamily use for that existing building. If it was going to be a change to a B1, I just looked at the code, and you can only allow what's adjacent to it. So if it's adjacent to an R1 and R2, it would be the least restrictive of those. So you couldn't have multifamily. You could have what's adjacent to it.
So what you're saying is, based on the code, if it was changed to a B1, it could not be converted into a multifamily
You could not.
building, apartment building.
Well, without a variance, but yes, you could not do that.
A variance, or would that be completely not
Be a
permitted?
you'd be asking for a variance from this section of the code. So it's not a, yeah, I think you could ask for a variance.
Okay.
Because residential uses are allowed, so yes, you could ask for a variance.
But you couldn't if it was an R2.
You couldn't ask for a variance, right, if it was an R2.
Okay. You could not. Okay. All right. So Chris, is your thought to basically take this B1 section down here and change this to R2,
Correct.
and then leave this B1? That's what it is right now.
Does that get us into a situation of spot zoning?
No, I mean that's what it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It already is a
It's a
B1.
non-conforming use.
It's a non-conforming use.
No, it's
Oh, it is?
conforming.
It's
Yeah.
conforming.
It's a business.
Oh, okay, that's what it, okay.
This is the non-conforming one.
Got it.
Right, but right now, this is R1, so it's.
No, this is B1. This
Oh, it
little-
is B1.
This little blurb right here is B1. That's the only one. Everything else
Wow.
down there is R1.
Oh, yeah, so I see. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my proposal.
Oh, so what about the R2, or the request for consideration of making the parcels to the west?
I don't think it's. I don't have any. I mean, with our goal of trying to expand R2 and availability in the city, I think making both of those R2 makes sense, especially if the property.
That's a second
So
modification.
both of these, so there would be those two, and, I'm just making.
I think it's just that one.
Just that one, okay.
Well, no, you said that landlocked.
He said both of them.
Yeah, I think both.
Did he leave?
He did.
I mean,
But it's those two.
It is those two.
Landlocked piece and then the one adjacent.
So both of these guys.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, okay.
And then this R2.
And then make everything other than the B1 that's at the corner R2
Okay.
Right.
on the south side of
Southeast
Lancaster.
side.
Including the corner piece, which is,
What is it? It's an apartment now, or it's a house right now.
oh, that's right, it's the other side of the street
Yeah.
where the gas station, or the oil change used to be.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so all of this.
Just that. Yeah.
Okay.
So this proposal, Chris, basically fixes everything except for the capstone.
Capstone.
As far as making what's non-conforming conforming.
And related to that, if it was kept B1 as we're proposing, like what David read in the code, if Capstone wanted to do residential uses in that structure, they would have to be limited to single-family or duplexes. He could not do multifamily
Unless
with
he
that
got a
structure.
variance.
Unless he got a variance, which
Right.
would have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Right.
Okay.
So that's your motion,
Correct.
those two changes on the west side and on the southeast side of Lancaster. So all those, or excuse me, we need a second on that.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's seconded. Okay, so any further discussion?
The note, I think this is another reason why this is important is if you've been following city council, why it's important to get this passed. If you've been following city council, we have been advancing legislation to allow for the fire station to get leased. That has to go out for public bid, sealed bid, basically. In its current configuration, it's zoned R3. So you conceivably could lease it and put residential on the first floor, and I don't think we want that. I think we want it to be what has been proposed in this October 1 map, which is B2, that would prohibit residential on the first floor. Because I don't think that use for that structure is a good idea. And I mean, that's something that it's possible nobody would intend to do that, that would come and lease it from the city. But again, you have to take the highest bid. So that's another reason why to try to get this across the finish line so that the zoning gets changed in time for a potential leasee to have a zoning that's in line with what the current use is.
So we have a motion on the floor with, to modify the October 1st zoning proposal, both to making two changes to R2, two parcels on the west side of Columbus Road and on the southeast side, and the changing of B1 to R2 on the southeast side of Lancaster. And we have a second. So let me, a procedural question. So we'll have one abstention, and so there's 3 votes. What does it require to pass? Two?
Majority.
Simple
Just
majority.
a simple majority, 2 people. Okay. Okay, so any further discussion? Anywhere, okay. So all those in favor of the motion as presented and the modifications that were proposed for the zoning of that area, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So it passed unanimously. Thank you. So the second case is case 25-07, Title 41 application for Hugh White Honda. And we've had a communication on that, and there was still much work to be done. But now we're bringing it forward as a case. And so with that, I'll open discussion with Mr. Riggs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hugh White Honda was, this was a case, we did post the property 2 weeks ahead of time as required by our code. I know the folks at the Hugh White Honda Development Group are working on making some of the comments, responding to some of the comments that we had from fire, from the utilities department, and they're also working, I know, on the getting the annexation of that one triangular piece. That's not been completed, but they are working on it diligently. So if you did decide to approve it, I would suggest we would approve this contingent upon responding to staff comments and having the property annexed.
Any questions here from the commissioners or any comments?
One of the things that we talked about a while back was either the resurveying or the holding contiguous and contiguous to make sure that we weren't having a situation where we had a parcel that had a building that was,
Correct. Part of the annexation would also include a lot combination. It's not a lot split, but a lot combination to remove those interior lot lines and create one new lot.
And it's okay that with the zone out here with B3,
The zones are correct, yes.
that it's okay that there's 2 primary structures on one lot then?
Yes.
Or are they going to have 2 lots?
They'll actually, it's my understanding, they'll actually split this so
Okay.
that there'll be a lot to the north and a lot to the south, and they'll have a structure on each one of those.
But you can have two primary structures on one lot in a B3. I'm thinking about like some of the East State Street large
Business
lots.
zones, I believe,
Yeah.
so yes.
Wow. Okay.
Any other commission member comments or questions? With that, I'll open it up. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this? Yes, your name and address, please.
Yes, Dustin Todd with Archall Architects, 49 East 3rd Avenue, Columbus. We're happy to be back today. We are, as Mr. Riggs mentioned, we are working on just making some of those last updates. Regarding the parcels, it is planning to be split. So as a combination, kind of directly between the current Honda store and the new one, going all the way back through. So it'll end up being two parcels in the end, one with each building on it. Just some additional information, since last time we were here. We did do some soils exploration. There was found to be some unstable soils on the site. So our current plan is to bring in some soil over this fall and winter to load the site, get that settling issues addressed, so that in the spring, we've got a nice, settled site that we can build on, ready to go. And then the annexation comment, we are going to be on city council this coming Monday, and that has to go through 3 readings, I believe. And I think our ask, which was discussed a little bit in our first meeting here a little while back, was would it be possible that we could start some of that work on site to bring that soil in, get it settled ahead of the annexation approval through city council? We already do have our building permit approval through the state, so we've worked through that process, but that would just be our ask of the city and of the council, is if that will be allowable while the annexation goes through. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
That's allowable. Yeah. It's not, I mean,
It would seem it would be valuable to the property too.
Yeah.
yeah.
In the end, regardless of whether they built that or not.
Yeah. I think, I mean, the prohibition is on utility connections until you annex. And so,
Yeah.
so that's, that we just can't do that. So,
Which we wouldn't be looking to do that work until the spring anyway, once the site's settled.
we did pre-consolidation and loading with several different construction projects.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that?
Just one question about the bringing the soil in. I watched the last Shade Tree Commission at which you presented and worked through the keeping the trees around the retention pond and some of the older mature trees. Well, you're filling the dirt in. That's not going to affect any of the tree plan.
No, it will not affect that.
Okay.
It's just going to be on that main portion of the site where the building's going to go,
Okay.
which there aren't really any existing trees in that area. So
Okay.
it's
If there were, they'd have to come
They have
out.
to come out.
yeah,
that's true.
all of that is taken into account with the approved plan through Shade Tree Commission.
Okay.
are you, you're working off the newest flood maps, right? Okay. Okay. Because I know they changed in this area here recently, relatively recently, in the last couple of years, and we adopted the new maps. But I think it actually gets lower, like the base flood elevation goes lower.
It improves the
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
there from a development perspective.
Because the current site drops off pretty steep from the road, and as part of the project, we're bringing it up to be a little more level with
Yeah.
the road.
Thank you. Any questions? Dustin?
I've looked at this internally with the team, and I think
Looks pretty good. Okay.
Flooding was my only question, which seems to have been settled.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion for case 25-07, which is a Title 41 application for U. White Honda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept and approve the Title 41 with the contingent that annexation occur in the regular order, number 1, and number 2, that they comply with all staff comments.
And also, they proceed with what they said, and it's going to be 2 lots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, okay, yes.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving case 25, the motion for case 25-07, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any communications? I assume there's no communications, but there may be some reports. Okay. So with no communications, so any, Ms. Jennings, do you have a report?
I guess it's formally on the agenda later, but the other business related to the Avenel
Okay.
crossing.
Okay.
Report-wise, I'll reflect back now. I've been working with Councilmember Michael McCary and Councilmember Alan Swank to get the advisory commission for the comprehensive plan update off the ground. And so that will be going through council here soon, like the nominations for that group. So just letting you all know that process is getting started.
Thank you. And Megan, Ms. Jennings, I'd like to thank you for all the work you did to and engaging with the community, having the public meeting, engaging with the community, and getting us where we were able to approve and allow the city to continue to look at that whole area in terms of development. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Yes.
It's a totally different topic.
Oh,
Am I
okay.
allowed to say anything, ask anything under communication, or just a?
Back to communication.
Yeah.
We can talk about other
Or maybe
business.
other
Yeah,
business.
okay.
Thank
Mr. Allison, do you have any report for
No
us?
reports at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. So then, the next item on the agenda is opportunity for citizens to speak about items not covered on the agenda. Does anybody want to speak? No? Hearing no, seeing nobody jumping up, we'll move on to announcements and other business. Let's start with the Avenel Crossing development.
Avenel, yeah.
You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what's going on there is we're currently reviewing to see if it meets the definition of a major subdivision. So we're working through with the developer on that, and we believe that it's looking like it's going to meet the requirements to become a major subdivision. So they're going to have to come before this board.
And this is another LIHTC development.
Okay. And where exactly is this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So it is out US 50 and 32, Hooper Road, which is...
Okay, I know where that's at.
Yes.
Okay.
East of 5032, there's a neighborhood back in there off of Avenel Drive. And
Okay.
there is a large parcel that has access to Avenel Drive, which they are proposing to develop into a LIHTC housing project.
Okay, thank you very much for
You're
that.
welcome.
Any other announcements or business? And I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Nyes.
Just wanted to, as I've mentioned before, the Shade Tree Commission, we looked at some recommendations earlier, and we tabled a motion, and as I understand, so we're not ignoring it. I know our tabled motion said bring it back for further discussion, but I think it's being addressed with meetings, and so I didn't know if it would be appropriate just for a brief update, just to let people know that the Planning Commission is aware of what's going on. And
I can give an update.
Okay.
Yeah, so, both the code office and I have gone through and looked pretty extensively at the city code and looked at locations where Shade Tree Commission as a body has approval authority or regulatory authority, and we're going to recommend to City Council that approval authority, that regulatory approval authority, be shifted to Planning Commission from Shade Tree Commission, and Shade Tree Commission functions in an advisory capacity. Met with Councilmember Swank, who's the Planning and Development Chair. We think it'll streamline a lot of processes and actually make them be able to do things better. That's my opinion, that they'll be able to be more nimble and be able to respond quicker to things in that role versus being a public body with an announced meeting and a quorum and approval authorities and such. and it would be more in line with what a lot of other cities do with their Shade Tree Commission. So far, we've provided the chair and the consulting urban forester from ODNR an update to those changes, and we're seeking input back. In fact, I just sent another version this morning and seeking input from them, and the thought would be that council would pick it up later in October. And it's changes. It's not just really. There's nothing in zoning, so it's specifically in Title 33, 37, 41, 21, and 9 are the places where there are different references to that.
Thanks.
Do you have anything? No, you don't have anything further to add? No, because you seem to be very knowledgeable about what's been going on.
Well, no, I've been
Okay.
watching the meetings,
Good.
curious, helpful. I had
Good.
to help, receive some helpful information, and I appreciate that,
And
Director Stone.
I can share it with this group, the proposed changes.
Yeah.
I'll send them out.
Okay. And I guess my only comment would be is that some other communities, yes, they don't have the regulatory, but they still work with getting the input from the Shade Tree Commission along with a recommendation. And so I haven't seen the most recent draft. It may be that it includes that, in which case I'm fine. I just, we have several urban foresters, and so if they're on the commission, to still involve them in a substantive way so that we can gain from their expertise,
Right.
but as well as streamline the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do. Like, for instance, I looked at Bay Village this morning. Bay Village is a pretty good process for how they, at least in their code, I don't know, I've not watched it in practice, but how they advise on new development specifically, and how their commission provides input to their planning commission for new development.
Okay.
And just a side comment about it, I thought it sounded like in the discussion we had with Hugh White that there was good discussion between the Shade Tree Commission, I didn't see that, and Hugh White, their representatives in this development, and that it seems like that's working out pretty well.
Seemed to work.
And if, and then in this new proposal, if there was an issue, ultimately would come to us to deal with if they couldn't work it out between the
Right.
commission
Right.
and.
I think where we're coming down on is there's a lot more opportunity for back and forth with the potential developer and the commission, because they don't have to necessarily, they don't have to have we have to, post a meeting in advance and have a quorum and have a discussion and do the business of the commission, because we're the regulatory entity. Like, we can't discuss it over email beforehand, and that ends up, you got to be real careful, because we're going to approve or deny. Whereas if you shift that approval or denial and keep it here and not with them, then they can be a lot more nimble and do a back and forth outside of the regular meetings. Certainly, they can bring it up and discuss in regular meetings as well.
Good.
I have a question about the Shade Tree Commission, and you were talking, if I understood correctly, about asking them to advise but not to make decisions as a separate board affecting this project. If we allowed that, is that a change that could be applied fairly to other entities seeking approval, or would we be changing the established rules for this particular property?
No. You mean?
If the Shade Tree Commission for Avenel.
Oh, for Avenel.
If they were asked to, I thought you said they might be asked to act as an advisory group to our planning commission, and so that this entity wouldn't have to get approval from the Shade Tree Commission and from us, thereby streaming Avenel. Is that a change that we would just make to simplify their project, or is that a change that could be applied in
It's
future?
much broader.
For everybody.
Actually,
Just
Avenel
clarifying.
didn't cross my mind.
Okay, just clarifying.
I think the only reason that Avenel is coming forward is because it's within the 3-mile buffer as a subdivision that the planning commission ends up having. It was a discussion we had last week about the locations in the plans, whether or not they met the correct me if I'm wrong, but whether they met the definition of a major subdivision, and we determined ultimately that they didn't, whereas Avenel, it may or may not. And so if it does, then it would be in front of the planning commission. But yeah, I think the two things are kind of unrelated.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Back to that Avenel real quick, Mr. Allison. If we determined that it would be a subdivision and would require this commission's approval, would there be things they could do to change their development plans to fall back out of that if they wanted to?
Possibly.
There would be a possibility of
There is a
that.
possibility. I don't know.
I don't know exactly.
We haven't really seen exactly what they're doing
What
yet.
they're doing yet.
You know, so we're
Okay.
still trying to recover information of what they're really wanting to do.
Okay.
I don't know that if they will be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
I'll report, we had an initial meeting with the development team for Avenel Crossing, and Mr. Riggs shared a long list of questions and clarification items, and that group has yet to respond. They've acknowledged that they're still working on responses, but we have not received answers to all of those questions yet.
Okay. Thank you.
An example would be, would easements have to be obtained across adjoining parcels to connect to public utilities to support it, in which case that easement then kicks in the major subdivision would be an
Okay.
example.
Okay. Any other business or announcements? Hearing none, I will move for adjournment, and will point out that our next meeting will be in 2 weeks on Wednesday, October 15th at noon, assuming there's business to be addressed at that time. Thank you very much, everybody.